I'm Honora Horton, and I'm the Executive Director of Hunger Free Vermont. We really start all of our work from the premise that everyone at every age has a right to food to sustain a healthy and active and vibrant life. So we approach our work from that standpoint of expanding the right to food, not only the access to food in any way possible, but ways of gaining food and ways of ending hunger that are dignified, that are universal, and that are really led by government. Because collectively, it's our responsibility to make sure that everyone has what they need to be healthy and to thrive in life, and food is so fundamental to that.
We want to make sure that people in Vermont who are struggling to put food on the table have the ability to access really strong and vibrant programs that help people access food in dignified ways. So through universal programs that help feed kids, like universal school meals, and a really strong Three Squares Vermont program that's accessible and gives people enough money to actually help them put food on their table.
It's a very robust federal nutrition program, and it is also the most dignified hunger relief program in the U.S. and also in the state of Vermont, and the most effective as well.
Hunger is really not a primary problem. Hunger is a secondary problem of people not having enough economic resources to buy the food that they need for themselves and their families. Hunger is a problem of systemic economic injustice and inequality in our country, along with systemic racism and these interconnected oppressions that really have created structural barriers that keep people from being able to access the food they need with dignity, even in this country of vast wealth and vast food resources. During this period where we're in this pandemic, it's been very interesting to be an anti-hunger advocate during this time, because the pandemic very quickly shone a bright spotlight on the issue of hunger in Vermont and around the country, where suddenly there were scenes of hundreds, if not thousands of cars backed up for miles waiting to get boxes of food. These scenes were very shocking for many people, but for us, they really weren't. What COVID revealed is that very, very quickly, once the economy started to shut down and businesses were closed and schools emptied out, is that there were many, many people here in Vermont absolutely living on the edge. And COVID very quickly pushed those folks over. So, before COVID hit, 1 in 10 people in our state, from children to our elders, were at risk of hunger and experiencing food insecurity on any given day here in Vermont. And COVID pushed that number to 1 in 3. And even though some say this pandemic is winding down, that number is still at 1 in 4 people in our state. And long after it's going to be declared that we're out of this pandemic, those high levels of hunger and food insecurity are absolutely going to persist, because your food budget is the one flexible piece of your basic needs budget that you have. We have an opportunity with COVID, as terrible as this crisis has been, to actually do something structural, do something transformational, to make a dent in these hunger numbers permanently for our state and for our country. And that is what Hunger Free Vermont is focused on right now. So we have a bill in the state legislature that would make school meals universally free of charge to every single student at every single school in our state. We are working on that visionary measure at the federal level as well. We are working to make many of the waivers and adjustments that have been made to Three Squares Vermont and the school and childcare nutrition programs for the pandemic. We're working to make those permanent. And we really hope that people in Vermont are going to join us and rally around this vision so that we don't have to go back to the inadequate, broken federal nutrition program system that we've all been living under for the 20th century and into the 21st. At the same time, of course, people are suffering now with hunger in greater numbers than they ever have before since we've been measuring hunger in this country and in Vermont, and we need to make sure that we're doing something to address those immediate needs. So we're partnering to make sure that the word is out for everyone about all of the different ways that people can access food. And we have launched a big outreach campaign to provide everyone with information about Three Squares Vermont and the availability of school meals for all children during this time at no charge, because many people who have lost work because of the pandemic have really never had to rely on these federal nutrition programs before. They don't even know what they are, how they work, that they might be eligible for them. And so we've been engaged in a massive information campaign over the last year plus as well. But while we're doing that, we just cannot lose sight for 1 minute on the long-term vision of making sure that everyone in this country has access to an adequate income for the work that they do, including the work of caregiving, including in retirement, so that people have the resources they need to go and purchase and choose for themselves the food that they want, the food that's culturally appropriate for them and their families, and have that communal and dignified experience of accessing food. That's the real vision that we have.